Yo, yo, my sovereigns, what up? This is Boba Fett, uncensored on the internet, with episode 47 of Splinterlands 101. Joining us once again, co-hosts of the show, finest gentleman who ever walked, Matt Clark.
Howdy, howdy.
Here's Matt Clark. He's one of the finest gentlemen that ever lived.
Well, I got you too. It's going to bother somebody seeing my T-shirt, trying to work out what it is. So it's a Swiss Army tank.
A Swiss Army tank.
Yep.
There we go.
I just realised from the angle, someone's going to be watching that. They won't be able to concentrate on what we're saying because what is that? Yeah, so Swiss Army tank.
Okay. So not 9 reverse gears, 1 forward gear. And the Geo of the Geotrix.
What's up?
And our guest tonight from the UK, Sylar. And Geo, seeing as you met Sylar, you've got a bit of a story that goes along with that. Why don't you introduce him?
Well, I met Sylar through Reddit, literally. He posted this bot out of nowhere. No alarms, didn't like shill it in any way. Just, here you go. This is something that I've made. And I was like one of the first few people inside the Discord server. And I was like, dude, like, what is this? You know, we're all asking, like, how do we buy this, blah, blah, blah. And he was just, you know, he was just helpful, right? He was just showing us where to go, what to do. And yeah, he just came onto the scene just like a ghost. And that's what I'm more amazed about. Like, he didn't promote himself really in any way outside of Reddit, so I think. Yeah, so we got talking. He just seemed like a humble guy, just wanted to make a very good product. And he was only charging initially when the product rolls out, he just wants to charge what it costs for the token, and that's it. Like, no ongoing fees for the bot. Other services may have some fees along here and there, but I think that's to be announced at some later date. But yeah, I was just amazed. I was like, wait, no fees, you know, it's just, who is this guy? And that's why we have you on here today, Sylar. Really?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great introductions.
Yeah, it was good.
No, very nice, very nice. I didn't quite see it like that as the developer. I didn't think I would need to make an introduction or anything. I kind of wanted to start off from a clean plate, sort of no history, just new identity. This is who I am. I didn't want it to be tied to anything in the past.
Okay. So how long have you been like playing Splinterlands, and what came first? Did you identify the need for a bot? Because I must say, I do like the interface. It has a nice friendly user interface on it. Did you come in from a crypto background, from a card playing background? Like, how did you end up on Splinterlands?
I guess first point would be crypto. So just being in the crypto sphere for a long time, I was very familiar with digital currency and sort of the metaverse, kind of the early phases of the metaverse. And yeah, so I was familiar with crypto. I've been a gamer for a long time. I've played some card games like Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess is most similar to something like Splinterlands. You collect cards. They're not unique, but you've got similar aspects. Yeah, and then as a developer as well, I sort of coming at it from 3 different ways. 3 things about Splinterlands that I like. It's crypto-based, it's a game, and you can automate it. It's almost like the perfect game to automate.
How is that? I mean, I know nothing about the technical side of it. Like, what makes it the perfect game to automate? Is it utilizing the code, or just the fact that the code is available, or why is that?
So because it's blockchain based, you've got to make it pretty simple, and you've got to make it transactional. So there's no interface from a technical perspective. You don't need to do all the all the annoying bits of making a bot in other games, like reading the screen and reading the pixels, trying to identify objects on the screen. You can just focus on the logic of the bot, so on how to choose the cards. And there's nothing there to try to prevent bots. I don't think there could be, but there isn't.
I've actually been wondering about this, and I think you've just answered that with the, I guess the other confounding factors where you're trying to read the pixels on the screen to interpret what they are as part of the bot program. I thought for a while, and I'm not from a technical background at all, I'm more of a conceptual thinker. So I'm sure this will sound silly, but I've often thought what would be an interesting way to get around things would be if there was a button on the screen that you could push to hear an audio, a voice telling you what the rule sets are, and whether that would prevent botting, because you would need a bot to actually be able to request the audio and then have a microphone that's capable of interpreting the audio to work out what the rule sets are. And again, I know anything can be done, but whether that would be a big confounding factor for a lot of bots. Would that be the case, or is that easy to get around?
No, so the bot wouldn't be interacting with the website, whatever that rule set is, and it has to be communicated to the server, to the player in some way, in some readable form. So the bot would just see the rule set without the whole speaking it out loud on the website.
Okay.
Part.
So it would just be inconvenient for the human players. Then it wouldn't actually.
It would not do
affect,
anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And where do you see yourself within the game? As obviously you're a developer, but like people have like different niches in the game. Some people are in purely for the investment side. Some people, they've got all the cards, but they just hodl and they don't actually play. Then there's people who are just crazy players, run their ECR down every day and then don't know what to do with the rest of the day. And then there's people like myself are sort of in the middle of that. And then like Matt's used the example before of the NASCAR scenario. Like there's so many, the game itself is like a hub, or the center spoke, and then you got spokes of a wheel. It allows many other industries to run alongside it if you can identify it. And it, like, we had Hakon last week, the rental. Because I remember when I first started doing rentals, it was just a pain, and the amount of time I'd have to spend, it made it, for the return I was getting, it just wasn't worth it, and so I'd quite often not do it. So someone identified that need. And then there's Kyokiz with all his statistical tools and stuff that, if you want an advantage on it, you can, you pull up, like I said, all that data's there, but as a player, we don't see that. We just see the interface. But people that recognize all this data's here, I can do this with that, I can do that. So where do you see yourself in the game, as a player, investor, or entrepreneur?
All of the above.
All of the above.
Sort of all of the above. I do like the game. I guess not enough to be actively playing it. I like to play Splinterlands on a more meta level. So instead of picking the cards on every battle myself, I like to be on the meta level of making the logic that picks the cards instead. So it's a similar, you're attacking the problem from a different perspective. But at the end of the day, you still have to deal with the mechanics of the game, the cards, the imbalances, the economy. It's just a slightly different approach.
And based on that, why did you make the token just like a one-time buy? Like, what was your reasoning behind that? Because you could have just followed the trend. Like, oh, okay, I'm just another bot service. Let's charge a fee for at least the initial bot, the playing bot. So I just want to know, like, yeah, well, why did you go that route? Like when everyone is doing something similar, that's what intrigued me. more so than mostly anything, was the outlook on no fees.
Yeah, I've been asked the question a few times. The answer is basically it's much simpler to do it this way. And it was a side project from the beginning that shouldn't take too much of my time, really. Everything I tried to streamline and make it as simple as possible to have a working product. So part of that is the payments and fees I wanted to keep very simple. I saw Archmage, I saw the token model. I thought that's really cool that you can just create a token and give it utility through your bot. That's awesome. You can have your own currency. But I didn't like all of the hassle with the fees. Looking at the white paper, don't know if you've seen it, even the updated one, something like half of it is about the fees. And just like the token A and B and C, alpha, beta, and you've got at different tiers, you got charged different amounts. I thought you had to spend more time just understanding the fees more than just what the bot does. And that didn't seem right to me. That you shouldn't have to think about pricing at all. It's just about the product. And also from just from a numbers perspective, if you onboard enough users at a given price point, you kind of break even pretty quickly without any more profit. So of course, anything above that would be nice, but for the amount of work that it is, I don't think it's a business that would make 100K turnover a year.
Okay.
Maybe it could be, but it's not on that scale. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a botting service for a game. You're kind of levels deep. I'm not trying to make this a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah, and you're also restricted the amount of tokens that will be available when tokens are mandatory for people to use the service. So it's not like you're overinflating anything. It's not like you want a lot of people to really like be on board with it. You just want like, just enough that your server at home can run.
Yeah. And of course, there's an incentive. There's an incentive to make money. But I don't know. I feel like the token price absolutely makes up for that. You have enough of an incentive, from my perspective, just from the token sales. I don't need recurring fees.
Well, I really like that, to be honest. I thought it was unique and different. So yeah, that's my take on it.
So just to highlight my own level of ignorance, with a token, okay. I mean, I use tribal decks basically just for swapping stuff around. But I really don't understand like the mechanics of a token, like what, because you can create your own coins or tokens on tribal decks and do stuff. Now, some of them just do nothing. It's just people just do it for fun, or some of them get value as a trading tool for upvoting posts and stuff. But how does that work? Like you buy a token, how does that fit in with the bot?
Yeah, so Hive is it's made it pretty simple for people to do this, to do the minting and to distribute it for a given amount. So they call it claim drops, which is how you get the keys. But also from the perspective of checking if someone has a token, they've simplified that. There's an API that you can call. So the bot can very simply check, does this user have this token? And that's a very simple mechanism to gatekeep the service.
And yeah, you go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was just saying, because I noticed I've looked at like the paper and that your site was on, and I saw that you had like these other rollouts that you wish to do in the future. If you'd like to like elaborate on that, just to give people perspective on like what may be here in the future, if that's something you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, so you're talking about the token sales in the future.
Yeah, and the extra features. Sorry, the features.
Right.
I saw there's like these boxes, and you had all these features that you wish to go through eventually. Not when the token is out and whatever, but like the next sale rollout of tokens. But in the future, you had like other services. I don't remember. I should have maybe looked at it before it came on. But yeah, you had like all these other things that you wish to implement So yeah, if you just for the viewers who are going to watch this, maybe like to touch on base on some of that. I know you don't like to really sell your token in a way. I know you're not like that, but yeah, if you just want to touch base on it, yeah, I think it'd be cool.
So the features list on the website, which I think is what you're talking about, those are features already in the bot. So that's all been implemented.
Right, that proves how ignorant I am.
So what's the future then? What are you planning to?
Yeah.
I mean, is this it now? Are you done? Or I mean, I'm fascinated by you mentioned the broader meta game, which I'm a big fan of thinking in those terms. Are you trying to, I guess, build the Sylar brand as a known, I guess, as a known party as the game grows? Do you want people to tap each other on the shoulder and say, "Oh, check in with Sylar to see what automation options are there," or what you get what I'm saying? What's the future from here?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I made it. I think if Splinterlands does really well, it has potential to have lots of dozens of different bot options, and they all have their trade-offs, and it's going to become really interesting to be in that space where you've got lots of different options, and I think it's going to be harder for bots to be at the top level. I think that's part of the challenge for Splinterlands with bots, is that the game has almost been solved in a way. You can, with tools that are available, I think some of them people are not aware of, bots can do things that humans just can't do, and they can run calculations to predict the outcome pretty accurately. Of course, there's, like in poker, you don't know what the enemies have, what the opponent's cards are. But even that can be solved, by the way. I think you can de-anonymize people just from the recent cards. You can tell who it is. I'm not doing that. I don't intend to do it. I don't think it would be cool, but I think it can be done. So bots are going to keep getting better. And I think the game is going to become harder to play. And in a space where there's lots of different competitors with different approaches, it's going to be really interesting to play that game of how do we optimize our logic against the other bots and against humans.
So when you're playing a game, can you tell whether you're combating a player or another bot?
No.
No. Okay.
It would be, when I was writing the logic for the bot, I realized if someone wanted to, they could de-anonymize their opponents and find out exactly what their collection is. I don't think the system at the moment it's anonymous enough that people can't do it. I don't know if other bots are doing it. Don't think they are, like Archmage and Splintermate, but I'm sure some private bots would be doing that.
That's a valid point. Like when you just mentioned private bots, I guess there'd be a lot of people out there playing with a bot that no one knows about. It's not for sale. It's just someone's private little project that they've set up for themselves. And just to expand on Matt's question, like if Splinterlands was a shopping mall and you had a shop in that mall, would your shop be Xbot, or would Xbot just be a product that your shop sells?
It really depends how it goes. For now, the plan is just Xbot. It's just a self-contained project. It does something. It does what it does pretty well. It has a really good value for the price, and I think it can exist in that small bubble. It depends how things go. I've thought about adding different services. I don't think I would make another bot service, but I thought about making a Splex alternative. Don't know if you know the website. They automatically rent out your cards to make you profit. I have the advantage that I've built a lot of the infrastructure, so the communication with the service. I've got databases for all the cards and the prices. So a lot of the framework is there, and it could be built in the future. And maybe there will be Xbot, Battle Bot, and Renting Bot, and maybe some other services.
You know what I'd love to see? I don't know if this is in any way possible, but just thinking about the possibility for bots making human players better, not in the moment, but as a generality. So, for example, I would love if somebody was to code a bot that would look at my battle history over the last, say, 6 months, and then compare the teams that I fielded with the optimal team for that rule set and mana cap, and just pick up trends. If, for example, I was playing
too much Earth.
Well, yeah, playing too much Earth, or if I was playing, because I've noticed about myself, I go for the dramatic wins where I'll have one big card, fairly low mana, and I'd like to have one big card and do Llama plus Flesh Golem or Llama plus Cube, and try and get like a big last stand win where I've got one. Or Llama Grund is another one that I have a lot of fun with, because he hits twice and then he tramples. Even if it's only a 16 mana match or whatever that works out to be, a 17 mana match, I've noticed that about myself. I tend to go for that sort of more glorious win that looks interesting and fun to watch, but isn't necessarily the best odds of getting the win. So would it be possible to, I guess, or easy, straightforward to code a bot that looks at my past battle performance and then comes back to me and says, we've picked up these trends. Here's the trends that I've noticed about you compared to what would have been more ideal teams to play. Maybe I picked up a trend that in a particular rule set, you tend to undervalue a particular ability, for example. So I noticed in Little League, I use a lot of scavenge, and I love that. And I often beat people who don't use enough scavenge in Little League because it's a high death toll, and often that really helps those 3 or even 4 scavenge cards. So I would think if one of my opponents was using this bot, they would hear you're not using enough scavenge in Earthquake. Sort of a list of things that you could do to improve your game to keep that, even if it was so much as a browser extension or something. It came when I play an Earthquake match or a Little League match pops up, then it says, by the way, the bots notice that you don't play enough of whatever type in this type of rule set. Do you get what I'm saying? Is that something that could be like a bot that coaches the human players?
Yeah, I think something like that would be possible. I've seen something similar, but not as kind of personalized as that. I think there is a tool that's paid where it's a browser extension that shows you, it gives you a prediction of how your team will perform on average, and it will give you a percentage of win rate. So that's sort of approaching the problem. I think it's possible, but you would need to have. I mean, that is quite a serious project to make it intelligent enough to recognize patterns and give you personalized suggestions. But I think something more similar or something more simple is something that could be done.
So with putting something, is it like anything with prediction, probability laws, the longer the history available,
the better.
The more accurate it's going to get with its suggestions.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Harry
so,
Seldon from Foundation,
don't know how much I want to speak about this because it's now competitive between the bots, but I would say the top bots nowadays, they don't just rely on data. So we're not just looking at a database of past battles to see, what's performing the best in this rule set and mana. We're doing a bit more complicated things to figure out to optimize our win rates.
So how far away is Skynet?
In terms of Splinterlands, I think quite far, because you've got that problem of not knowing your opponents. So you can't quite solve the game completely.
And then of course there's the unpredictability factor, which I've used the example a couple of times with when the Melee Mayhem rule set came out. Everyone wants to load up with Melee because they've got all these Melee that they don't normally get to use. Now they can fill a whole team, they can from the back row and stuff. And of course, Melee are quite often heavy with shields. So I just started playing Alric and just magic, just smash, 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 smash. and I was just killing it. But after a couple of weeks, I'd do the same thing. And then their team would all be like, silence, 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 magic reflect, magic reflect. I'm like, they're onto it. So the meta can change, like, unpredictably, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think bots can also set the meta. So if you have a smart enough bot that is not just playing other people's teams from the past, they can actually come up with new, unique ideas, and it can come up with combinations that no one's ever seen before.
Wow, that's some Skynet shit right there.
Yeah, and it's the sort of stuff where, like, you want to sort of keep it half secret as well. You don't want to give that. You don't want to give that all away, just in case someone uses it on their own bot. And you know what? You want to try and have the most competitive bot. And that's what I think is cool about the space as well, because you do have these competing algorithms and bots and all that. And eventually, it's just going to push up to a certain degree where they're just going to be so amazing. Like, they're just going to improve. And you're mentioning, Bob, like the Skynet thing. Like, are they just going to get so smart? You know, like, yeah, that's what blows my mind. So that was just an open-ended question, I guess, the answer.
I wonder about items and spells. I don't know if you've given much thought to that, Sylar, whether it's going to be a minor short-term road bump for the bots, or whether that would be something of a more major inconvenience to have that second round where there's a range of items and spells available, and you can see which cards your opponent's chosen. Ironically, could that make it easier for the bot once it knows exactly which cards it's up against? Then it just becomes a question of which items and spells do I pick to optimize my lineup. I guess it's hard because we don't know much yet, but yeah, just at a conceptual level.
Yeah, no, I think it will definitely be harder for the bot. It won't be, I don't think it will be a deal breaker. So it will still be possible to play around it. But I really welcome that change. I think it's really the direction the game needs to move into, is to give the players more interactivity, make it more complex and interesting. So in a way, bots are sort of forcing the hand of the team in that way, because if they become too good, it means the game is not complex enough. And we need to add more features, more rounds, whatever it is, rule sets. I don't know if you heard about Bulldog's idea about having like a daily multiplier, or like, what do you call it? Like a sort of global rule set that affects all cards, that changes every day and it's unique. So you wouldn't have the same rule sets day after day. And that would make it also really interesting and harder for bots.
I haven't actually heard of this. So like at the moment, when our new focus arrives, there's a limited supply of what the next focus can be. You're saying that's what's going to change?
No, so he suggested it in this Discord, basically having a global modifier. So something like all death cards have 1 extra health for today, or maybe for a season. And so having these constantly changing rules that would make it harder for the bots, because they can't just rely on past data, but also would keep it interesting for players, because maybe I have a really good Earth deck, or like a life deck, and today is a really great modifier. So I'm going to check, for the next few days, what's going to be the greatest modifier for my team, and I'm going to play on that day.
Would you have, like, with that came out, the bot have to be like, there needs to be a patch or an update every time that happened, or can that just be incorporated into it?
No, it wouldn't need to be patched every week, but it would be a challenge for sure. It would make the predictions of the bot much less accurate.
Right.
Wow.
And you mentioned you're more into the meta, but I guess to be able to understand what the bot needs to do, there has to be a level of play. Do you like try and get up in the leagues? I mean, end of each season, where do you finish?
So that's really been improving. so the bot existed before Xbot. It was a private bot for over a year, and it was doing reasonably well on my own accounts, but I don't think I ever got above Diamond 3. But I don't know if you know my account. It's a Splinter Bank, so maybe check out the collection. It's not the greatest collection. I've got, don't know, like level 3 summoners, a few good like 1 BCX cards, but not the greatest collection. And I've got, I'm more going I was expanding more vertically, horizontally. So I got a lot of accounts and I didn't make it one big account, which now it seems kind of dumb. But in the past, that was the play. Like a year ago, you wanted to have 1,000 accounts with very few cards. Right.
Because that's what was rewarded more so than having a lot of cards on one account. You have the most optimal cards spread out across many accounts, and that's how you get more rewards, really.
And it's so good that the changes that Yabba, well, I mean, Yabba made those changes to incentivize that combining of those cards to do that. And it's great to see that that's working. Interestingly, I wonder whether the different availability levels of cards in Wild might make botting more difficult for to do well as opposed to Modern, because I know I have some very older niche cards that, as time goes on, a bot designer who doesn't know that their bot's going to come up against me is very unlikely to predict that I'm going to have a Shinlo or that I'm going to have a PJ, for example. There's only 90 of those in existence. So I guess my question is, do you believe that Modern is easier for bots to thrive than Wild? And do you think that over time that will become more so?
I see your point. I guess so. I haven't really thought about it. Yes, if you have some cards that are rarely played, they're not going to be in the database, or very rarely, and they're not going to be considered very much. So yes, they could be overseen. But I guess for cards that are really rare, the bot doesn't really need to care about them too much because they're not going to be seen that much in play.
No, but I mean, as an owner of those older rare cards, I can then, I guess, tweak my play to prioritize those, particularly when I believe I'm coming up against a bot. I can then think, oh, well, I'm going to use my PJ and my Shinlo and pull together teams that maybe Goblin Sorcerer and whoever else that's going to be, say, a multi-magic sneak team that isn't readily as readily available in Modern, particularly not in, say, a really low mana match, where the bot's not expecting that because they're not those cards are so rare. If I've got the option to play those rare cards and those rare cards are less likely to be predicted by the bot, then that means that as a player, I've now got this ace up my sleeve. What does that do for the value of those rarer cards then, I guess, is the question. If just having that card and using it well is going to improve your win rate against bots that are, I guess, believing that they know what the average person holds and plays against the average person.
Yeah, that
I'm not
makes
sure
sense.
if there was a question there. Sorry.
No, it makes sense to play more novel cards and combinations against bots. But you've also got to think about the recent teams displayed. So if you're playing the same rare cards again and again, the bot is going to find out.
No hiding from the bot, Matt. The bot will find out.
It's not just a case of what's programmed in the database. It's like, it's reading in real time as well, what you're doing and what you have been doing. Yeah. So I've been, on average, finishing the seasons in Gold 1. And for a long time, the thing that was holding me back was the not leveling up the cards. But a big part of that was because I got in at the beginning. I have a fair few alphas and beta cards that I didn't stay in long enough. I took a big gap in the middle. So leveling up alpha and beta cards now is quite an expensive thing to do. So, but I have been focusing my most recent investments in the game, not so much packs anymore, but trying to get those old cards up to the level that they're utilized best at in gold. And are you consolidating your accounts now so you've got like a meta playing deck that you can play at in diamond, or is that not in your list of priorities?
Yeah, kind of. So I've got Splinterbank, my main account, and that is pretty consolidated. It's several times bigger than my other accounts. My other accounts, they tend to be, I don't know, $5 to $10 per account in terms of cards. And yeah, so I'm consolidating on one, but on the biggest strategy for my own accounts is rent to earn instead of own. So I still keep base level or the reward cards, and I level them up on all the accounts. But I don't try to buy cards other than that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Sylar. So before we get on to you introducing like the app through like share screen and all that, I want to ask, because you mentioned in the Discord server that you wanted to upgrade your server. And yeah, I just want to know, like, what specs are you talking about here? What hardware are you thinking about? Because that's what I like the most anyway.
I would have to pull it up. It's a server, so the CPU is different. It's not like a Ryzen. It's those server specific hardware.
Actual server CPU, like
yeah, bare metal
epic,
kind of.
like epic CPUs.
Yeah, they're pretty epic. Yeah, like 32 cores. Yeah.
Wow. Are you, okay, this is the moment of truth. Are you going with AMD?
No, it's Intel.
Say yes. Damn it. I joke. Yeah, so
I'm still
you're getting
blown
a new
away
CPU.
every time. Like even when we went out, came shopping with me to get my laptop, like, because I still remember when Pentium was the game changer, from the 486, and it was like a Pentium, 100. It was like, wow.
100 megahertz.
Yeah. With my 2-speed CD-ROM, 540 megabyte hard drive, and 4 megabytes of RAM. Yeah.
Oh, that was before my time. That was before my time. Yeah.
Now people have 10. Now people have 10 times that computer power just kicking around in their
back pocket.
On their Apple Watch, on their watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So new server. How many cores are we talking? 32, 64?
Yeah, 32 cores, 64
Beautiful.
gigabytes of RAM. Yeah, just crazy machine.
We
need that. It's an operation now.
That's how I know you're serious. You're upgrading the hardware to accommodate for this bot of yours, and yeah, I think that's cool. Anywho, enough with the with the geeking out on techs and specs and all that. Let's get on to the actual Xbot, and you can share and run us through what's up with it and how to get started. And yeah, I'd like that. I think we all would.
Okay, sure. I'll get started. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Sure can.
Okay, so Xbot, it's a automation service for Splinterlands. The bot, in a nutshell, it will play games for you. It will submit teams. It will handle all the quests, the focus, the season rewards, renting cards, transferring, pretty much everything except for very rare things like guild brawls. I guess it's not that rare, but it doesn't do, and some other minor features. But pretty much everything in the game that a player would do is covered by Xbot, and it should be able to do. The main feature, I guess, is battling. So using your ECR, you can put your alts in there, you can put your main in there, you can put 100 accounts in there if you have the money for it, and build your accounts in any way you like. You can have one massive account and have that play in Champion, and we have seen accounts in Champion. So Bulldog has been very kind and he's been very active, and he's played it in Champion 2 last season. Right now, I know yesterday he had a pretty good result. Let me see if I can pull it up. So this is yesterday's run from of Bulldog on his main account. It's a very good account. It's, I think, the most expensive account I've seen and on Expert. And well, it did really well. It started off, so it doesn't show all of the battles. There was like 40 battles, but it started off at 3,100 rating and it gained almost 200 points. I don't know if it's big enough, but basically this is in Diamond 3, I think, or 1. Yeah. I think it's Diamond 1. And it's 53% win rate, gained rating, 70 SPS gained. So pretty solid at a very high level of the game. And in the lower ranks, it seems to be doing really well as well. So people are going all the way from silver to gold in a single session. Like 80% win rate is even possible if you give it a good account. So performance seems really good so far. Of course, we've got to get more data. We only have, this says 1,366 accounts, but a lot of those are mine and they're pretty crappy accounts. So it's a bit inflated, but we've got around 500 real accounts that are bigger accounts. And so far seems to do reasonably well at the highest ranks, like maintain its rank. And in the lower ranks, it seems to be murdering people, really.
It's good. Is that a general rule with the bots, that bronze and silver is more kick-ass than gold and diamond?
I think the reason for that is there's still a lot of bots, including Splintermate, that are not very sophisticated. So it's like cannon fodder for Expert and Archmage. Okay. They're not very sophisticated. They play the same teams again and again, and they kind of feed us wins.
All right.
Yeah, so how would you get like started, just for someone new, you know, just run them through the process of actually being onboarded onto export services? Sure.
So it depends on what your starting point is. If you're already familiar with Splinterlands and Keychain, then you would already have your keys imported in your Keychain. It's a browser extension. So if you've already got that, it's pretty simple. Let me just log out of my account. You would go to export.app, you would go to the accounts page or click on sign in, and you would just sign in with your email. You won't have these accounts, of course, but the basic process is on this page, you click on login with Keychain, you put in your username, and that will prompt Keychain. You will accept that prompt, and it will add your account. Once the account is in here, all you need to do is click on keys, submit your posting key. Annoyingly, that's still needed because of a limitation with Splinterlands. We can't do it with authority. So you submit your posting key, and then it will be paused by default. So it will be blue by default. That means it's paused, not active. If you want to activate it, you just unpause, and you're good to go. It will show you when the next session will be. If it's pending, it will say pending. And that's pretty much it. For the basic features, it will start playing every day and use your ECR effectively. Well,
that's of course, right.
Go on.
Sorry, would you like to go into like the config and like, you know, have a little quick like little scroll through like what the features are and what you can like add on, take off, change up?
Sure. Yeah, great idea. So the config, it's very in depth, and you can get lost in here in terms of settings. The default is really good. So if anyone doesn't want to bother with it, you're probably not missing out. I would just have a glance at it and see if there's anything obvious. But basically you've got features about sending your cards, so duplicate cards that you get as rewards. You can send them over to another account, so you can accumulate your cards in one place. You can open packs, you can change the behavior of the quest or focus. So should it refresh automatically to try to get a better quest? You've got the starter penalty, which determines how aggressively the bot will avoid using starter cards because they earn less rewards. So you might want to have that quite high. All sorts of other things. Advanced league buffer, it gives you a buffer between getting to the next, enough rating to advance, but not immediately doing it because you might want to wait a bit. So yeah, and you've got, I guess, pretty important, the rental section. So this is the rental feature of Xbot, which is a sort of very simplified version, trying to give users a way to optimize their win rate without any work. So you give it some assets, DEC or credits, and it will rent the cards at the right level for a set number of days that it thinks it will perform well on. And you can also do that for power. So it can rent power at the most efficient rate, like CP per DEC ratio. And usually the bot can get up to 1,000 CP per DEC, which is very high. So you're getting very efficient power using the bot. And yep, you can configure how much it should spend as a percentage. You can tell it to use credits. Pretty much anything you can think of is configurable.
That is so cool. That's really a lot more in depth than I was anticipating. Thanks for showing us that. Do you have the option in there? I noticed you said sending opening packs and or sending reward cards to another account. Do you have, my eyes are not great, and I'm looking at old phone screen, so excuse me if it's obvious, but do you have the option on there to automatically combine, say, reward cards when you have sufficient to attain the next level, or say packs that are won for daily or season rewards that are then opened by the bot? Do we have the same sort of check to see if you have enough automatically combined and then continue on? Is that a setting you have there?
No, not at the moment. I've thought about it. I've got my own tool that I use. It's a small script that I use to combine cards, but I haven't made it publicly available.
That would still be posting key, wouldn't it? Combining cards?
Yes.
Would that? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So everything that this does is done from the posting key.
Yes. So posting key is required to log in to Splinterlands.
Yeah.
There is something called posting authority, which in theory should make it so we don't need your posting key. But Splinterlands, for some reason, doesn't let you log in with posting authority.
Yeah.
We need the keys.
Because I get massive amounts of FUD every time I see something like asking for a key. And when Geo is showing me the screenshots, like you got, grant permission to send to another deck and something. And my bad here, I always thought that was an active key requirement to send a card to another deck. Because like it is an active key.
So some of these features are only accessible with different authorities or different levels of authority. So in the keys, you've got the rental authority and active authority. Yeah. So we're not asking for the keys because that can be done given authority, which is more secure and easier to do. For sending cards, you would need your active authority.
And so then how do you do that if we're not providing you with the active key?
Yeah, so that's a concept in Hive where you can give someone the rights to use your account in certain contexts, like only active or only posting, and without giving the keys. So they're able to sign transactions on your behalf without you giving them the key. And that can be revoked at any time. As you can see here, you can revoke it.
Because immediately in my mind, I was thinking so that would literally, anyone who has access to the back end could literally send all your cards to their mate's account and run away, and you'll never see those cards again. Anyone that has similar FUD to me, what would be your response to that? How would you set our minds at ease with this kind of authority? I mean, obviously, there's the key thing is if you've got that much FUD, just don't do it. You don't have to. You can. It's not hard to manually do that yourself. But if someone just wants to just set and forget, like what safeguards are in place that they're not going to lose, that their cards aren't going to be sent to another deck?
So I've thought about this problem quite a bit from a technical perspective, making it secure. And well, I can't give the specifics that would give away what I'm doing, but all I can say is a significant amount of time has been invested in making this secure. So the way that the posting key is submitted over the network, it's all encrypted. The users don't have any way to kind of access other people's posting keys, like in the database, for example. All of the kind of safe rails are in place to make sure that this can't be abused. Now, of course, people should always be careful. If the account that you're giving authority to, which is one account that I own in the back end, if that ever gets exposed, which I don't think it will, I hope it doesn't, yes, people's assets would be at risk. So there is a real risk. That won't go away. I can only make it very secure from a technical perspective.
Okay. Yeah.
And obviously you'd recommend that a user would lock their cards for, say, 30 days before handing over any sort of authority, so that they can, as long as they check in every couple of weeks and make sure that their cards aren't in the process of being unlocked. I imagine that would be the workaround there. Do you have the option on the bot to automatically lock cards or new cards, or is that not? I mean, obviously that would prohibit then you combining them, like I just mentioned a minute ago. Is that something that you'd look at, or something you'd consider, or is it more a case of, look, busy in new cards, if you value them, jump in and lock them yourself when you get the chance?
Pretty much what you said. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be something that people have requested for. If I get the request more often, I think I would look into it. But it seems like most people, what they do, if they have a really big account that they don't want to lose, they will not use active authority. The benefits of that is really only convenience. And if you care so much, if it's a very big account and you should care, don't use active authority, or you can delegate your cards instead.
That's what I did. That's what I did from my main account. I did that to the cards that to the accounts that I want Xbot to play. So nothing's really at risk anyway, since it's all delegated from the main.
Yeah. Matt, I still haven't looked into this card a lot. Every time you mention it, I think, and then it's gone. Remind me later in Discord.
Okay, it's very easy. You do it in Peak Monsters, right? You just select all and then lock. It's one of the things in the drop down on the right. Lock, and then you can choose how many days you lock them for. And then if they start getting unlocked, then you see that as a, and then you can jump in and stop that and relock them and work out what's going on with your key. You can do the key change or account recovery process through Hive. But it's very simple to do in Peak Monsters.
Okay. And what can't you do with a card that is locked from a player perspective?
You can't send it to another account, but you can. The big problem I have with it is you can't combine. So I have cards, for example, that are. I got some cards on my account that I would like to move to my rental account, but they're locked for 30 days, and I don't want to lose 30 days rent by. I guess I could unlock them and just trust that they're not going to move, but they're high value cards, so I'm reluctant to leave them unlocked and then move them across, and then I mean that's the point of locking them, I guess. But others that I would like to, I've got enough combined that I could make a max version, but then I would need to unlock them all and finish that unlocking period, and then do the combine and then relock the new combined card.
Yeah, I must look into that.
It's a great feature.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to come out for other stuff, skins, land, you name it. I'd like to see a lot more locking possibilities, because that's what that does then is the eye of Sauron, those hackers who are looking for an easy mark. They just look at that and go, oh, all assets can be locked, and a whole lot of them are. Let's not even bother trying to build the systems to defraud these people, because there's very little payoff there. And that's even if people didn't lock their land or their cards, knowing that it's a possibility means that we tend to get overlooked then, and they go to greener pastures, which is what you really hope for.
Yeah. And the other option, like Geo does, all of his cards are owned by his main account, and he delegates them to the botting end. That's a pretty safe way too, isn't it?
Yeah, some other services recommend that too. I think that's the go-to way.
Yeah. One thing I did notice when I was like setting, because I've created all my spares. I've got myself basically 3 accounts now. I've got my main account that I play at in gold, and then I've created an account that's got a playable deck at bronze into silver, quite easily, which is what I've set up on Xbot. And then everything after that was left over, I've moved to a 3rd account, which is purely just renting out. It's just creating income for me, just renting out those cards. And for simplicity's sake, and for just protection at my end, my main account runs on Brave, and the other 2 accounts, on Google Chrome, how you can just create a different account. You can have as many Google Chrome accounts as you want.
Mhm.
So I've got one account on Chrome for my rental, another account for the botting account. And when I was setting this up, when you log in, you get that email sent to, you got to click on to for authority to actually log in. I having a bit of problem with that initially, because the only thing on my botting and my rental account is just Splinterlands, basically. So my email is on Brave. So I'm in Chrome, it sends that to my email. I open up my email on Brave, click on OK, and it kept opening up Xbot in Brave. And my keychain on Brave does not have permissions for the other accounts.
Right.
So I actually had to open the email. I figured it out. I had to open the email on that particular thing, but yeah, that was one thing I sort of, but everything else about this was, even for me, was really simple. Yeah.
Okay.
I must say, really love the interface. Yeah.
Thanks. So there's another workaround if you encounter that problem again.
Yeah.
In the email link, there's a sign in link in the email, and you can right-click that button and copy link address, and then go into your preferred browser and open it there.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
True.
But I found a workaround, so, and it was no biggie. But yeah, have we lost Matt? Looks like we have. Has our storm made its way across to Adelaide?
Maybe it has.
Right.
He came on in us again. All right.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just sorting out some internet. Issues. I'm still here, still listening.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
right.
Australian issues, Sylar. It's Australia. Our NBN and internet rollout just is shit.
Yeah, can you believe Australia? We're ranked, I think, number 37 in the world for internet speed. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah. All right. So where were we on the magical tour?
Yeah, if I could keep running through some different parts of it. The dashboard page is sort of overview of your accounts. So I've got a few accounts connected here. You've got a sort of overview of your ratings, the recent sessions on Xbot. You've got your balances, and you've got your cards. So you can also click into it and have a view of your cards. Wow. There's also there's the overview card. So the first card will combine all of your accounts into one, and you can either take the average or the total of your stats. And the other view is the sessions. So this basically, the way that Xbot works is it doesn't play like at random times, like twice an hour or 4 times an hour, whatever it is. It organizes everything into one session like a human would do, and it plays whatever 40, 50 matches a day, and then shows you the results of everything combined. So
and then it takes a break so you can recover your ECR.
Yeah, that's
24
right.
24-hour cycles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that will be configurable too, so people will be able to set how many how many battles Xbot should play. And so if you want to, I don't know, if you want to play manually sometimes you can set it so you will have at least 75 ECR to play with whenever you log in, but it will make sure you're never at 100% just idle.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've tried to simplify this to like the minimum amount of information that people need. I didn't want to overwhelm people. There's lots of things you could show. This is really just an overview of, when you have a quick glance of what's going on, how are my accounts performing, and you can get a glimpse of the different sessions. There's only going to be one here because I'm only combining 1 day's worth of sessions. I can do more, but it will take a bit of to load because I've got a lot of accounts.
Yeah. It's pretty quick for me. I only got 2 accounts running on it, so it's pretty snappy.
It's pretty quick as long as you keep it to a few accounts. Once you're above hundreds, it can be a bit tedious.
Yeah. And this is on the 32 core server?
No, it's still on the old server.
Yeah, have you like bought the parts yet, or it's still on a wish on a list?
Oh no, it's pre-configured, so I'm renting it in a data center.
Okay, cool. I thought you were like buying it from your local computer shop and like setting it up at home. I was like, whoa.
No. I don't think anybody does that. Now that you've got AWS and other data centers, they make it so easy, and nobody's going to set up their own hardware.
Yeah.
And I guess people would be doing that with their licenses as well for SPS and stuff like that. They'd all be using data centers, so it's running 24/7.
True.
That's right.
I mean, you can't really compete with Amazon services and all that, right? Like their centers are just more than what the average person will ever have.
Except they can't deliver a chair.
It's a story that Bob had, that he had some complications buying a chair off Amazon. He bought it, then they canceled the order and put the price up straight away right after. How shady.
It was my first purchase on Amazon, and I ordered this chair, and then I get an email about 2 hours later or something. It says, we've identified fraudulent activity on your account, so we've canceled your order and canceled your passwords. So I had to like ring them to get it all set up again. Once they'd set it up, went back to order that chair, and it was more expensive. It was like the exact same thing. It was like, no. So I said goodbye to Amazon. And just heads up, we've got 10 minutes left on the Zoom clock. Just letting everyone know.
Cool.
Real quick.
Now we can either just like continue on with like Xbot and what it has to offer and all that, if you'd like to show more, or we can just go into like some last minute verse, if we verse each other and all that.
I'd like to actually see some, personally, I'd like to see some more about the bot, like the features and stuff like that. That's
I'm quite happy to write off the battles tonight. Yeah.
I'm
not. I don't mind. I'd rather this too.
Okay, sure. Maybe a different time we can do some battles.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so I left off at the sessions. So this is basically another breakdown of the different sessions. And as you can see here, the recent ones here in bronze did really well, 650 ratings in one session. And this is,
wow.
This account doesn't have any cards. It's only renting cards.
And the bot is choosing which cards it's renting for you?
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's an overview here. It's renting these 3 cards.
Scargle. That's another thing, because I have some Rift Watchers cards, and when I saw it play, I was like, yeah, this is sick. Like, this is actually utilizing cards that I've bought, right? That, it's real cool, real cool.
Dark Astronomer, who the hell is that?
No idea. It's a death card, right? Yeah.
It's been around for a while, Dark Astronomer. That's like Untamed, I reckon.
Okay. Yeah, I only got a few Untames. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it can play pretty rare cards, but because it's trying to maximize how much you can get with your money. So it doesn't just pick the best cards that everyone knows do well. It tries to find those hidden gems that nobody cares about, but do pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like a happy medium to get the best bang for your buck, but still play well enough for where you get over 50% win rate. And I just saw that, right? On that account, just renting, you got what, like 67% win rate? That's pretty good.
Yeah, about to get into silver.
How were you
really
affected
cool.
then with when they changed the rentals from 24 hours to 48 hours?
That was a really good change. I think before that, it was a bit too profitable to rent as a bot service. So that was a good change. They could even increase it more to 3 days. Yeah,
and that
so
would be advantageous to this bot for renting.
No, it would be worse for bots.
Yeah.
I think better for humans.
Yeah.
Just while we got you, Sylar, because I'm really enjoying the chance to pick your brains on this. Tower Defense and Genesis League Soccer, are they projects that you would consider botting? Is it all still too unknown? Can you see any issues or problems with the concept of botting either of those games, or I guess new projects based on what you know of them so far, or is that just not on your radar yet?
It's not really on my radar. I need to look into the details of how it's going to look like. I think football is probably more reasonable to automate. The tower defense depends how it's built. If it's blockchain based and transaction based, it can be automated, but it doesn't look. It looks like more of an interactive game. But I will automate anything that I can. That's sort of my first thought with anything I see. Can this be automated?
Love it.
Right.
Okay, I think we've pretty much covered the site. There's a bit more, of course. There's the token page where people were able to claim these tokens at the beginning. They sold out really quickly. I kind of underestimated demand. But there will be another sale, probably 1st of December, so in around 2 weeks, and that will be 900 tokens. There's also the docs with more information, a bit of a guide. Yeah, a lot of things that we've covered and some FAQs.
So at the moment, you're letting people use the bot for free while you're like tweaking it and stuff like that. When will it be mandatory to have a token to play the bot? How much time have people got to check this out before it becomes a paid service?
The plan is 1st of December to get out of beta, and it will be 1 month since the launch of the beta. So seems like a good time. And it will require a token. I'm looking into 2 things. I want to make it so anyone who's signed up an account on Xbot can keep using the service for a few weeks, maybe 1-2 weeks after the launch. So you just have to sign up now. And I'm thinking to make a trial version so anyone can try it out for a week without any payments.
Awesome.
And the token on the general sale will be 40 Hive, yes?
No.
For a
because the Hive price has dropped, it will be more now. It was pegged to dollar price.
Ah, right. Yeah, so, yeah, okay,
What is the token then pegged at for US dollars?
It's $20 per token, but probably only for this round. In terms of value proposition, I think just compared to the competition, I think it's a bit too much value for $20. It's a bit too underpriced. So I'm thinking it will probably go up after that.
Okay, all right.
Cool. Yeah, that is very cheap for what you're offering. Do we have account limits of number of tokens that a specific account can buy? Because I would probably be looking at just buying 10 and then just sitting on them for a couple of months and selling them on. Have you thought about limiting that, or?
I can limit it through Hive Engine. There was a 10 token limit on the previous sale.
There was.
I know some people have already started reselling it for like 3x the price.
It's true.
Yeah,
seems like an easy flip. And there's no reason why a speculator like myself, who's done none of the work, should pick up that excess value when it could be used. So I don't know,
What
mate.
I
I mean, obviously you've thought about this more than I have, but I would start the pricing at $50 straight off the bat, and maybe see if you can capture some more of that value rather than having it flipped. Because if you list them for $20, I'm just going to take a lot of them as well.
It's true. It's true. People have already done that. I have a few myself, and I actually had someone who I bought the token for, and then he sold it to me, and I was like, I'll keep it for you when you want it back. And I didn't put the price up when the price went up. I just gave it to him for the same price he bought it off me again for. Like it was like a safe keeping sort of thing. I was like, yeah, you come back whenever.
And just once
and he
again,
snatched it up.
when is the next release of tokens?
1st of December.
1st of
That's the
December.
plan.
And will there be any like window of opportunity, like someone who's already got, like for myself, for example, I've got it up and running. I want to grab a token. Will there be an event, like a window of opportunity before it goes to open market for people already using the service? Or is it just like here in Australia, it's usually a case you've got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning or something for, all these Roonies and Rift Watcher pre-sales and stuff like that. It's like, huge time differences here, as organizing this.
That's not really that's not in the plan at the moment, but I think it would be good to have, just to make sure everyone who really wants it can get a token. I thought it
before Matt buys them all.
Yeah, and flips them on users a week later. No, I think it would be good. I'd have to look into the technical aspects of it, but I'll try to.
Well, look, Bob, if it sells out, I always got a spare token for you, man. So just putting it out there.
So you still got a spare? I thought you gave it back to him.
No, I bought 4. I'm using 2.
Well, I'll have one, man. I'll take one.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Awesome.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. All right. Can we jump back to the main screen? It's just I can't see the timer while we're in view.
25 seconds.
Oh, okay.
It was good. It was good.
Guys,
good having
thanks
you
for
on,
joining
Sylar.
us on episode 47. Look forward to seeing you in episode 48. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Sylar, thank you so much for coming on the show. Any links or anything like that, drop them in Discord. I'll include them in the blog. Thanks for joining us on 47. I'm Bob Fett. Peace out.